everybody, it's Romania Black. We're on episode 10 of Spy Family, and I can't believe we only have 3 episodes left of the first cour, or the first season, but it's okay, because very soon, the second season's gonna be starting, and we're gonna roll right into it, which is fine. I actually think that the first couple episodes, maybe episode 1 will already be out by the time we're still on season 1, but that's okay. That'll give y'all time to watch it, and then you can watch me watch it, so it'll be great. We can talk about it then, so I'm pretty excited, but I do have a couple comments from episodes 7 and 8. I'm recording a little bit ahead to stay away from spoilers and to gear up for season 2. So I do have a couple spoilers I want to talk about before we get into these episodes. But y'all had some really good comments. This is probably the most comments I've had for this series, but y'all had some really good ones. Velvety Yuri. I love that Velvety Yuri pointed this out, and several others did as well, that the way that Damien sees Anya in episode 7 is in a very shoujo-like way, with all like the sparkles and the bubbles and everything, and the way that Anya sees him is like a shonen, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I like that a lot. That kind of fits the whole Yor being strong, Anya like seeing things in the way that kind of subverts what you think of a little girl. I like it. I like that a lot. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. And that also said that there was some anime-only content in Damien when he had like the first few scenes with Anya in episode 7. There's a couple things that were anime-only. I thought that was pretty interesting. It seems like the anime has added a few extra things into it, and that's okay. Alexander Q pointed out, kind of along the same veins, that we were talking about Damien's parents not getting onto Lloyd for Anya punching Damien, but Alexander and Q and I were talking, and it's kind of like Damien's parents seem to have a very hands-off approach. We know that Damien stays in the dorms, so he's not really around his family a lot. His family didn't come to like the opening night. So it's quite possible as well. It's quite possible they don't know about the incident. And also, if Damien has a crush on Anya, he may not have told his parents because he doesn't want her to actually get in trouble. He has this kind of tsundere, like, you know, we were talking about it in Neon Genesis. It's called like retraction behavior. And it's just the idea that you have a crush on somebody, but you act the opposite way around them because you're anxious and have anxiety about it. So he has a crush on her, but he acts like he's a bully. And that's that psychological condition. So he doesn't really want her to get in trouble, so he may not have told his parents about it. He may have just put the bandage on and been like, oh, I fell, or something like that. So there's that could have happened. Alexander Q also pointed out, and this will kind of tie into Ashley Penn's comment, that there were actually sparkles around Anya when she was first talking with Becky. However, we don't get to see what what Anya heard inside Becky's head, so we can assume that Becky is being genuine to Anya when she talks to her, which is cool. I like the fact that Anya has a genuine friend and that Becky is a nice girl that says what she means and isn't fake or trying to be manipulative. I like that a lot. It's really cool. So that kind of ties into Ashley Penn's conversation in that Becky's a character that just says what she's thinking, and so we don't really need to get inside her head like we do other characters. So that's good to know. Also, Ashley Penn and Space Monkey also talked about aglio e olio. I don't cook a lot of noodles or pasta dishes, to be honest. I'm more of a rice person. So I think maybe I've made lasagna and like manicotti like one time. And so I don't really make a lot of pasta dishes. But apparently aglio e olio is just garlic and olive oil stirred up and fried up and put in spaghetti. So if you go to episode 8, Space Monkey has a really cool comment about the recipe for that dish. So if you get a chance to go check that out, that's on there too. So thank you both for explaining to me Italian cuisine, because as you can tell, not one that makes a lot of it. So that was awesome. Thank you very much. AGIN talked about the military outfits in episode 8, the one that show off like the pecs of the guys. I was kind of making fun of them, but they were commenting saying that they're probably based more on Italian or Spain military outfits. And I was like, oh, okay. I wondered if it was based off of an actual military uniform. Makes sense if we're talking about like different European outfits kind of being inspiration in this series. That seems rather fitting. And then Christopher Peterson commented about how Yuri and Yor, they are basically gender-bent versions of each other. They're very, very similar in that they have the brawn. I would say Yor has more bronze and emotional empathy, and Yuri has more brains and cunningness. So that's kind of where they're different. But they both can't hold their liquor, and they're both super emotional, especially when they're drunk. And so I thought Christopher also brought up a really good idea, and several others have talked about this in the comments, that is the organization Yor is working for with the shopkeeper, are they really good? I don't know, because Yor has a very, very pragmatic sense of justice. She believes that she's doing stuff that is for the benefit of her country and her fellow citizens and her family. So her being an assassin and killing people is in for the betterment of her society that she lives in. So we were talking about just wondering if there's going to be like some twist that who she's working for is not all as sunshine and rainbows as they seem, which they're a group hiring an assassin, so they're probably not sunshine and rainbows to begin with, but it's going to be curious to see how that plays out as the series goes and see what goes on with it. So there's that. And then finally, Sarah Linda commenting on how Lloyd hesitated to kiss Yor. He's never hesitated with other women, but Yor's different. Yor might be the real deal. So, and he doesn't even realize it yet, right? So there was that. And as you can tell, I did not know this, but Sarah Linda's like, yeah, those pillows that say yes, on the other side of them is usually the word no or not tonight. And the idea is that if it says yes, you're down to like mess around. And if you flip them over, it says no or not tonight, then you're not into it or not wanting to. So I was like, oh, well, there's that. So the fact that they both said yes when they went into the bedroom explains why they were a little bit flustered. So I'm really excited for episode 10. These last couple episodes, it was kind of the Yuri arc. We had like the end of episode 7 and then 8 and 9 was just wrapping up the Yuri arc. We've got 3 episodes left. So I'm assuming we're going to go back into the academy because we haven't been there in a while. And Anya is on track to get the Stella. She's got to get 8. Has 0 and has a bolt instead. So she's like -1. She's got to bounce back up. And Lloyd has been told he has 4 months to get all of them. Totally reasonable. So I'm very curious to see how that's all going to play out. But thank you all so much for the comments. I really appreciate it. But we're not going to waste any more time. We are going to dive into episode 10 of Spy Family. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. And let's go. That was so stinking cute. I really liked that. That episode was great. That was a nice getting back to form, right? It felt a lot like episode 5, sort of. It felt like not a filler episode, but kind of like an easing. It was weird. Episode 5, which y'all have told me is mostly filler, but is still really, really well done, was kind of like we stopped one mission, we solved part 1, and we kind of like took a break and rewarded ourselves. This is like the initiation back into the story. And like, okay, we had that stuff with Yuri. We've established how Yuri could be a threat to Lloyd and that they're looking for Twilight and the stuff with the adults. And now we're back to the kids. And there's some really, really good stuff in there about Damien and the idea that he is very much in the shadow of his brother. And we'll talk about that in this. But Henry Henderson, I freaking love him. I love him as a character so much because he's just such a prim and proper headmaster. And I just love that he has his own like workout gear and he has like the wool underneath because he's an older man, you know, he's got to keep cool. Also realizing it's like 5:30 in the morning when he's jogging. At first I was like, is it 5:30 in the afternoon? But no, the sun's just now coming up. So it's 5:30 in the morning taking a jog. I do jog, like I don't run, I jog, but I definitely do not jog in the early mornings because I'm not a morning person. So I'm like, nah, that's too much energy that early. So no. But yeah, I do love that he like does the jogging. He goes through like the town square, the quad of the school, not the town square, where we saw Lloyd and them first go through when they were doing their initiation and doing their first set of trials as parents. And I love that he, like Lloyd and Yor and them, he stops in front of the statue and like pledges his loyalty and allegiance and dedication, respect to Eden College. It's great. I love Henry so much. For the record, we don't get Lloyd fan service in this show. Not a lot. We get a little bit, like a safe for work amount of fan service, right? But the moment they showed us Henry Henderson's calves, I was like, are you about to go there, show? Are we going to get this fan service? We can't get Lloyd, but we're going to get Henry Henderson? I mean, fine. But what? So, and it's only the calves, but I'm like, he's got some pretty good calves. Like, some svelte calves and them shoes. Why am I thinking these things? And then just does the epic, like, the sexy hand through shirt. Like, why are you trying to make us all, like, simp for Henry Henderson? I mean, we already are. Why are you trying to help us even more? With the tie and everything. But he has the coffee, he has the tea on, he has his chessboard, he's got the room ready for the kids to come in and mingle and socialize. So then we have Master Henderson. We don't get who this guy is. He's like, would you like some tea? And he's like, oh, well, sure, I'd love some. I'm like, is this your partner, sir? Who is this man that's come to your office so early in the morning? And so he's in charge of the grade school kids. I like that he has like the little hourglass to determine, I guess, how long the tea should set. And so this man comes in and saying they show promise. So I don't know who this man is, but do him and Henry have a thing? BL goggles are on, y'all. But I love that the first thing he thinks of when asked about the kids is of Anya punching Damien. It's great. So yeah, that must have been timing out the tea, like how long it had to sit and still. Okay, makes sense. But yeah, so he does the whole thing about becoming an educator, and then meanwhile, we have like him saying that all the kids, they have to pass through our school's traditions to carry on for the bright future. So Henry is very much dedicated to the future of these children and making sure that everything's fine. And he has like these awards of excellence, all this stuff, all the trophies. Our house of learning exists to ensure the future of our country is elegant. Of course. So then it's like the rooster crows and everybody wakes up and it's time to get out of the dorms. I think it's interesting that it seems like this room that Henry's in, like his study room, is for the kids to come to that stay in the dorms. And again, we talked about the primary colors in the ED. There's a set of couches that are blue, a set of couches that are yellow, and then the chairs for the chessboard are red. So you've got your 3 primary colors there that are all kind of tied into this series, which is fun. But I'm assuming that the kids that stay in the dorms can come in here and kind of mingle because they don't have their families to go home to. So they kind of come here instead. I like that. It gives Henry kind of like a adopted father figure position, except he kind of seems more like a grandfather to me than a father, but who am I to judge? He might be an older dad. But we have Emil and Ewan. Ewan and Emil. I freaking love them in this episode. They're so good. It's wonderful. But they are looking through all the different albums and everything and all the records of how the kids have done there at Eden Academy. And so as I say, let's walk quietly in the corridor. I like that is, the vice principal has that little note up there. And Damien sees that he's by himself in the photo. We get a lot with Damien in this episode, and it makes me like Damien more and more. I love his character, and I like the little things that we get with him, and that he just wants his family's attention. He just wants them to notice. And they're like, and what a tease! This show is such a friggin' tease. They say, oh, isn't this your older brother? We don't get to see him? How dare they? I feel like the fact that we don't get to see his older brother means that he's going to pop up and be relevant in the future. I feel like the fact that we don't see what his older brother looks like means it's going to be important down the road, and that's going to be like a plot twist that it's the brother. And plus, Damien doesn't really look like his dad at all, so we don't know what the mom looks like, so we don't know if the brother looks like Damien or if the brother looks like the dad. We don't know. Maybe Damien does look like his dad, but a lot of you pointed out in the comments that Damien's dad, Desmond, right? Or Damien's dad, Donovan, politicians go through a lot of stress, so it kind of makes them look a lot older than they are, so maybe that's part of it. But yeah, they're such a tease. They don't show it to us. And I like that Damien's like, yeah, he's like, there's my brother. Yep. And there's like, he was an Imperial Scholar, and this must be his entrance ceremony. And I wondered in the photo if Damien saw that his brother had his parents with him at the entrance ceremony for him. I kind of get that impression that Damien's older brother is like the Imperial Scholar, like the best boy, the prodigy son, like the best child that gets all the attention. And Damien's kind of just, he's the second son. He's the second best, right? Kind of reminds me of Kyoyo in Ouran High School Host Club, that he was the second son. He didn't get a lot of attention either. So I wondered if that's the case, and Damien's just kind of like in his brother's shadow. I had a friend who was in her sister's shadow. Her sister was like really smart, super athletic, like top of her class, like had all the friends and was really popular. I didn't like her personally because she was kind of a wench. But I was friends with her younger sister, and I felt bad for her younger sister a lot because she was like constantly in her sister's shadow, and it was really apparent, and like her parents didn't even try to hide it, and it was like, So I get where Damien is coming from, and I know people that are in his position, so I kind of empathize with him a lot in this episode. It's like, I'm the eldest, so I don't know what that is like in terms of being in the shadow of an older sibling, but you can just tell, they say he's truly an MVP. And he's so soft. Damien is so soft in this episode. Like, his expressions, you can tell that this kid, he puts up a front. He puts up a front of being big and bad and mean, but at the center of it, he's like, no, I'm just wanting to stand out so my parents will notice me. I'm like, that's why I want Anya to eventually invite him over to her house to play with her and see her family. But she don't like him right now because he's been mean to her. But I think the more that she will read his mind, maybe she'll see that he's not really a bad person. But then the problem with that is if she's reading his mind and he finds out about it, he's going to be like, you were probing my mind? What are you doing? You know, one of those situations. But it's just so sad when you see him, like, look really, his, like, face gets shadowed, and they're like, your brother's just raking in the Stellas. How magnificent. And he's like, you can just tell he's so sad about it. I feel bad for our poor boy. But then his friends, like, snap him out of it, and they're like, I'm sure you'll become an Imperial Scholar even faster, Lord Damien. Like, they're like, rooting for him to do better than his brother. And I'm like, oh, Emil and Ewan, you two are the best. I love it. It's great. They're, like, so cute. He's like, I know you'll be the first in our grade to get a Stella. And he gets that little crooked smile. He's like, okay, guys, my besties. I'm like, that's so sweet. I love it. Damien, he's like a cute kid. He grew up to be a little heartthrob. And so he's like, well, yeah, I don't know. He's like, but we gotta wait until our exams. And then I don't know who started this rumor, but I want to see, what are these stickers? There's like somebody with like Super Saiyan hair, like knocks this kid out. With like, it's an arrow though, it's not even a dodgeball, it's like an arrow with a star, and there's a kid catching a volleyball, and another kid has like his head shaved. It's funny. Class competition with dodgeball. That's funny. So he's like, we'll have a dodgeball tournament. Man, I was Anya in dodgeball. I was so Anya. Like, I would be the last person. I would always get picked last for dodgeball because my throw sucks. And I would stay at the back of the gym. Everybody else would get out. It would be down to me, and then I can't throw for shit. So it would just fail miserably every time. Like when Anya threw that ball, I was like, it's gonna fail. I was having flashbacks. I was not the kid picked for dodgeball at all. So I could totally relate to her as well in this episode. But yeah, I just love that Henry Henderson is reading the history of Eden College. He's like Belle from Beauty and the Beast, where he just has the same book and he reads over and over. It's like, that book again, but you've read it twice. It's like, Henry. I want to know what kid started the rumor about the dodgeball tournament giving you a Stella, because that clearly was not true. No, sir. And of course, he like thinks it's a beautiful day in Eden's history, and we immediately pan over to Becky and Anya and Emil and Ewan and Damien arguing with one another. He's like, elegantly and brilliantly. And it's like, no, not with these five. And so they're like, you picked a fight with me first. And she's like, Anya didn't do anything wrong. And Becky's like, well, first off, like Becky's like immediately going to talk about it. And they call her, I go, I get the idea that Becky and Ewan, do they have a thing for each other? The little boy with the pointy hair. He's like, shut it, stubby legs. Damien calling Anya stubby legs. I hope Anya gets to be super tall and then she doesn't have stubby legs. But yeah, I love the idea that when he calls her stubby legs, it reminds me of Hanako-kun when Yashiro gets called like having turnip ankles or something like that. She has stubby legs too. So in any case, I do like the subversion that they do in this episode, where Yor becomes the athletic like soccer mom, but not like the soccer mom that just goes to the games. She's like the athletic parent that's all about sports and is like, yeah, we can do this. And Lloyd kind of takes on the role of like cleaning and cooking and getting stuff around the house ready, and he's like, which is funny because Lloyd is a spy, so he has to have some kind of natural athleticism to him to be an effective spy, right? Because he has to like be physically active and fit. But we don't get Lloyd doesn't seem to have had much time growing up as a kid because he was mainly working for Wise. So he doesn't seem like he ever had time to actually be in athletics. Whereas I'm sure Yor was in athletics, because it seems like her and her brother did go to school and have like a normal public school life. So she probably did play sports, but because she was an assassin, she was probably really freaking good at them. And so I love that she takes on the idea of training Anya so she can get Estella. And if you look at Lloyd, our boy Lloyd, the stress has gotten to him. We don't see a lot of him this episode. It's mainly Yor and Anya. But he's like got some bags under his eyes. His hair's all disheveled and is a mess. Lloyd's looked better. He needs some sleep and to stop stressing. But I like that Lloyd figures out that it's all a rumor and it's dubious right from the start. Like, Yor is pretty gullible and naive, so she takes it to heart and she's like, yes, we'll get everything ready. And Anya kind of false suits and believes her because she's a kid. But Lloyd kind of sees through the entire thing, but he's like, well, I guess if it'll work, go for it. And I really thought Henry was going to give Anya Estella at the end and call her MVP because she like toughed it out and tried to stay till the end and like give it her all. I thought he'd give her like a reward for just all of her effort, but Stellas are not easily handed out at this school. No, sir. We'll get to Bill. Oh my God, Bill. And so, at this point, Lloyd, you are letting some things slide because he questions whether Yor is athletic or not, and she clearly is. I think, yeah, her whole thing about doing them in, and Anya, who knows she's an assassin, is like, teach me a killer move, and she's like, oh yeah, I'll teach you a killer move, and Lloyd is like, oh, did you play dodgeball? Were you really good at sports when you were in school, Yor? And she's like, oh no, not exactly. She's like, I just played catch with my brother sometimes. Ha ha ha. And I love her face when she looks away and she's like, I rip people apart and toss them around on a daily basis. She's just like, oops, I don't want to tell that to Lloyd. I love her face where she's like, don't reveal. But it's great. But at this point, I'm like, Lloyd, you've seen her drop kick a man and seen her do like some crazy karate moves. You don't think she's athletic? Like, dude, you've got rose-tinted glasses. But I love the training montage with her where she tries to do the sit-ups, she does up the stairs, they do the yoga, she does like the little like the stretches and everything. I love when she has her hair up in a little bun. It's super cute. Like, I just love the bonding that Yor and her do, the mother-daughter bonding, and it's very much like doing stuff that you would assume could be tied to like a dad, but it's not. It's given to Yor instead, and I really like that. It's a lot of fun. And of course, Yor is deadly with a dodgeball. She's the most deadliest woman in the world with a dodgeball. I love that movie a lot. But yeah, so we actually get down to the day of, and I love that she's like, I'm going to catch that star. And she's like, got it in her hand. Of course, this show's a comedy, so it's not all going to work out that easily. But the animation was great in this episode. It was beautiful. It looked really good. I loved just the flow of everything from scene to scene. She has all like the gear and everything, the ball that's been blown out. She has like she ties her hair back with the red ribbon, has her hair down. It's super cute. It's great. I love it. I love it like she swishes and everything. And they're in the gym, ready to go. I'm going to get lots of stars. Oh, girl. She looks fierce. I love it. So I can help Papa with his mission. Mm-hmm. And so at least it's clear you're motivated. And so I like to don't hold Lord Damien back. And she's like, second son and his lackeys. I love she knows what the word lackeys mean. And Becky's just like, what of it? Like Becky has her hand on her hip ready to go. And her and Ewan, I'm telling you, her and Ewan, the guy with the cone head. Mm-hmm. And she's like, that's the second son. The son of Papa's target for this mission. She's like, good things happen if I become friends with him. She wants to, she knows she needs to become friends with him for the mission, but she still's like, she's not gonna not say he's a jerk, right? She's gonna call him out, right? And she's like, but he gets really mean, so I don't like him. And that's the problem. He's not really mean. She would like him if he'd be nice to her, but Damien, you stooge, if you were just nice to her, she'd be your friend, and you'd be a lot better off. But he's even got the blush on his face around her, and he's like, it's like, I don't have any time to waste on a runt like you either. And she's like, runt! I freaking love it. It's great. But he says, I need to get rewarded this Stella. He's like, I have to become MVP in this tournament so I can become an Imperial Scholar like my brother. Otherwise, my father will never notice me. And she hears that. Like you see the sparkle. She did hear that. So she's like, oh, So I'm glad that Anya is slowly getting little bits and pieces of how Damien's actually thinking. Like she is getting little bits and pieces as she goes, but she still thinks he's kind of mean, so she doesn't want to be around him. So your usual PE teacher Bobby's out sick, so I'm going to be a substitute. Of course you are, Henry. Why not? He's like, don't forget to be proper young men and ladies and execute the most elegant of plays at Eden Academy. I just love this. They get the line up of them side by side. Whoever this kid with the freckles and like the Kuramochi hair from Ace of the Diamond, like who the hell is he? We didn't see him in this episode, but he looks somewhat threatening. And then we see them Wold Hall, Class 4. The great dodgeball plan. I love the way that this shot is composed. It looks like such the shonen action like anime where it's like the great dodgeball plan. The thing for episode 10. It's so good. I thought that the guy in the back with the glasses was Lloyd at first. I thought it was Lloyd and he was going to try to sneak in to the episode and help Anya win the game. Because I figured that Lloyd would be too nervous. He'd be too anxious and not trust in Anya and be like, I gotta go help make sure she wins this game. Or at least go to watch her. So I thought the guy in the back was Lloyd with glasses on like as a disguise. I didn't think it was Billy. Oh, Billy. I freaking lost it because Billy's amazing. So, and then we cut from that big dramatic shonen shot to just, like, because they're 6-year-olds. They're 6-year-olds playing dodgeball. So even, what I love about this show is that, especially with Damien, it shows like how kids view like their imagination, viewing all this epic stuff happening when it's like the simplest of things. So we have this epic shot and it's like, boop, the dodgeball, it's like the simplest little thing. But they think it's so serious and they're treating it so epic. Right? It's so cute. Like, show him who's boss, Lord Damien. And let me just hammers the ball. Yeah. And so then, I love Damien's little sweater vest with his shirt look. That's so cute. But here's the sad thing. The sad thing is Damien, we see him playing chess. And so that implies that Damien's like a smart, like strategist. Like he's smart. He's a smart kid. But he's playing chess by himself. He's not playing with anybody. Like, his friends come up and talk to him about the intel they gathered, but he's not playing chess with anybody. He's got the little Argyle socks. Like, little Damien's cute little sweater vest look. It's freaking adorable. But yeah, he's not playing with anybody. Like, I'd love for him to teach Anya how to play chess. Like, that'd be so cute. But I feel bad for him that he's playing by himself and his friends are, like, out gathering stuff. And they're like, oh. And that's when they find out about Billy. Like, we've got to face him, my enemy. And that's when he throws the ball to defeat Class 4 against this guy. What does he get a last name? I want to see if they... Yeah, he throws the ball at him. But yeah, what the fudge? This kid, this freaking huge Bill Watkins, the son of a commander major. I just love the 6. I'm like, at first I was like, there is no honest to God way that kid is 6 years old. But then when you see like his dad, he's like, Daddy. His dad's freaking huge. His dad's like 8 feet tall. It's like, oh, okay. I get it now. I hope their mother is a giant as well. Because otherwise that poor woman. But yeah, the son of, yeah, nice catch, Bill. And he already has like the glasses. And I love Becky's like, what the heck is that monster? And he's just like, oh, there's no way he's our age. Bazooka Bill. Oh my God. I was like, his thighs are like bigger than most adults. And he's won all these sports tournaments as kids. And Becky's like, how many tournaments do you have in kindergarten? Like, what is this? And Damien has like that cheeky little shonen protagonist grin where he's like wearing glasses right now. Is dangerous, old man. Like, he's just so cocky. I'm like, oh, Damien, you sweet summer child. Like, you'll be fun when you're an adult. It's like, and he's like, I humbly thank you for your concern, Damien, son of Chairman Desmond. Like, he knows the military hierarchies because his dad's a major. He's like, it'll be fine because that ball won't be hitting me. And he like shoves up the glasses. He has like pecs. What 6-year-old has pecs? Oh my God, hits above the shoulders don't count. Oh, okay. So yeah, if it hits, but then did it count when he hit Anya then? He said hits above the shoulder don't count. He hit Anya in the head. So did they just call her out for no reason? We're gonna look at that again. Airflow and humidity. Oh my God. And they talk about him like basically going through the same training that Yor did, that Yor was trying to do with Anya, except Billy is actually like physically fit. I thought maybe his voice actor is Ushijima's from Haikyuu. Ushijima has like that deep, deep voice. And so does maybe Domeki from Twittering Birds. I wondered if it was the same voice as that, or maybe even Kageyama from Twittering Birds, maybe one of the same there. But I I love as he like breaks the targets and like squeezes the ball and like makes it like fly out in like a big spiral. And then like it breaks a power pole, like bends it in half like a security light. But then his dad showing up and grabbing the ball and he's like, Daddy. I will listen. I'm going to go back and listen to that like 5 times. And he like gives his dad a big hug. He's like, my son, Bill. Oh my freaking God. Absolutely amazing. He's like, yes, Daddy. And he's like, you will eventually be the hero of Eden as well as our army. Oh, and he blots out the sun with it. Seize your hand on those stelas with your own hands. The future of Ostania. He's like, sir, yes, sir. Which I'm like, oh, he's just trying to make his dad proud. Absolutely wonderful. So this series, what I love about this episode is it has these 3 boys, Emil and Ewan and Damien, like, and I like that Bill says he'll hold back on the women. That's very nice of you, sir. And then he just goes, boop, knocks her out. It's great. But I love that these 3 boys, they go through like all like the shonen tropes. And they do like the climbing the mountain where it's like the power of Nakama. And then the one kid falls off. He's like, go, Damien. And then they're actually just on the playground on the monkey bars. That's really cute. And then I swear when he's like holding like the power thing and it's purple, that was Namek. That was Dragon Ball Z. That was Namek. I lost it. I was like, oh my God. And it's when they're playing on the tire. But they were imagining playing Dragon Ball Z and it being Namek. But just these 3 boys just playing on the playground and having fun. It's so cute. It's really sweet that Damien has these 2 as his friends. But yeah, he's like catching Frieza's attack with his hands. I love it. Oh my God. It's so wonderful. And it's him catching the tire. That made my day. Absolutely made my day. He's like, I'm going to be the MVP. Oh, Formation G. Like, they try their best. And they even do, like, the spiral and the dance and everything. Trying, like, the ultimate shadow clone attack. They're so cute. This episode was absolutely adorable. And then Emil, he jumps in front of Damien to save him. Like, every trope of, like, someone sacrificing himself to save his friend. And then Ewan being like, Emil! And then, like, don't cry. Like, it just... this was so wonderful. I love it. But then it's just Damien and Anya. Yeah, it's down to Damien, Anya, and the one guy. He's like, I have to survive and stand out. And I love that Anya's like, second son's a real shithead. Girl, watch your language, watch your mouth. Lloyd would not be proud of that language use. So what's interesting here is that Anya uses her telepathic powers to dodge the ball, right? She uses it, and he's like, but I didn't. He's like, she dodged it before I threw it. Like, what? And he does all the things and dodges it, and that gets Damien's attention. He's like, hey, you're not too bad, you know? And so I thought that she was going to use like her telepathic powers to try to help like get him out, but she didn't end up using that, and she ended up throwing it and be really bad. But Damien, at first when she falls, Damien's like, well, it's her own fault for falling, so I'm not going to help her. But it's almost like he does it. I love that he starts crying, being like, she's reading my every attack. And you realize he's a kid, even though he looks like he's 27. He's like a 6-year-old kid on the inside. It's really cute. But yeah, Damien, I love he has the bags under his eyes where he's like, what do I do? He's like, do I help her? He's like, he threw that ball with everything he's got. And he says it's unfortunate, but in the end, it's her own fault. But what is he? He's like, I'll survive and lead Class 3 to victory. But he ends up sacrificing himself for her. To save her. Mm-hmm. And he almost had it. I really thought I was going to catch the ball. I really thought I was going to catch it. And I love that like her hair blows back and she gets like, that's the first time that she gets the blush. She gets the blush with Damien. And she's like, you saved me. And he's like, of course he has to be like a little tsundere. He can't just accept it, you know. He's like, my chance at MVP, like he did it without realizing it. And she's like, oh, you protected me? And he's like, and she's like, are you a good guy? And he's like, no. It's like, just admit you're a good guy, Damien. It's okay. It's all right. And he gets mad. But then she steps up like she's going to do it. And it's, oh my God, I love it. And then it just barely goes and bounces. They made it look so epic. And it was like the star catch arrow like she has. And it relates back to the picture on the calendar where they were throwing the star and it was an arrow. So that's That's a great time. That's cute. That's great. And then Bill, like, with the tears and everything. It was so good. Such like a bait and switch. Wonderful. But now look, he threw it. It hit her head! So she shouldn't be out. You said hits above the shoulders, sir. She should still be in the game. Aww. But then everybody's like, yeah, who told you that you were getting a Stella? Yeah, no. Why would they tell you this for one game of dodgeball? Like, how much do you think those Stella are worth? He's like, you even yelled die at somebody. I should give you a bolt for that. And the kid's like, oh shit. So, oh my gosh. And he looks like a little kid there. Oh. They're like, don't worry, Bill. We'll just try harder next time. I love that everybody's so supportive. And then, of course, Becky. What I love about this scene is that Anya looks like she's really sad, but Becky's like, too bad, Anya, but you did great. I'm like, Becky is best girl. I love her. I'm so glad that she's friends with Anya, and she's so supportive, right? She's so supportive and kind. She's like, it shows that you're worthy of a Stella, young ladies and gentlemen. But then Damien comes over, and he's like, you can't be serious, you baka. What was that crappy throw? Like, of course, he reacts like exactly like you think you would. And she's like, shock. And Becky's like, you didn't hit anybody, so be nice to her. Anya doesn't like you at all. Oh. And he's like, maybe not. Maybe they're not going to get Stellas. Maybe that's not going to work. And then Anya says that everything Mama teaches me is useless. It's like, well, it's not useless. You're just not an assassin. And you shouldn't be. So that was absolutely adorable. I loved that from start to finish. That was super cute. That was nice. I like that we get more of Damien. We get more of Damien and what he's about, like why he's trying to become an Imperial Scholar. He's trying to do it so that his parents will notice him. And that's the funny thing is that Anya has this family that's kind of like a pretend family, but they love her so much. And Damien has a real family and they don't seem to love him at all. It's like, oh, the contrast. So again, I don't know. I really want, at some point, part of me is like, maybe Anya would have Damien come over, but not right now. She don't like him. And he's still being a little meanie. Even though we know that he likes her otherwise. So, But yeah, this was a really cute self-contained episode. I loved the tropes, the references, the jokes, the humor, the subverting the end where you think Anya's going to save the day. And it's like, nah, it's still a comedy, right? But I am very curious to know what you all thought of this episode. This was like a pure, like, Mountain Dew rush of sugar to my system. And it was much needed. So, but it was really cute. I liked this episode a lot. So I hope you all did too. But I'm curious to know your thoughts down below, what you guys thought of it. But in any case, I am excited to see what's going to happen. We only have 2 episodes left of season 1. 2. I feel like it's not going to, we're not near any resolution with this series is just getting started. The whole mission of gathering intel on Desmond is like, there's no way it's ending in 2 episodes. No. Now, this is the first half. This is the first season, it's season 1 and season 2 starting in October. I feel like season 1 is not going to end like anything crazy. And then we're going to pick up right where season 2. I feel like we're going to get in the meat of the series in season 2, but I could be wrong. 2 episodes, a lot could happen. I don't know, but we shall see. So in any case, I'm excited for episode 11, the penultimate episode of season 1. Should be a fun time. So I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. I hope you all enjoyed the reaction and discussion, but I hope you all also have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Spy Family. Bye.